Alaikum, and welcome to the UIF Community Podcast, where we bring you stories of purpose-driven professionals and entrepreneurs who are making an impact in their fields while staying true to their values. Today, we're excited to welcome Dr. Saamer Siddiqi, a physician, entrepreneur, and healthcare technology consultant based in the Chicagoland area. Dr. Siddiqi is the founder of LIVEMED Telehealth, a cutting-edge virtual healthcare company dedicated to improving access to quality healthcare for patients nationwide. In addition to being board certified in internal medicine, Dr. Siddiqi has over a decade of experience in both hospital and preventative medicine. Beyond his clinical work, Dr. Siddiqi has advised startups and healthcare organizations on how to use technology to enhance care and reduce costs. Through his journey, he's built a reputation for combining medical insight with business innovation to drive real change. In today's conversation, we'll talk about how Dr. Siddiqi built and grew LiveMed, what it takes to balance medicine and entrepreneurship, and his advice for young professionals looking to make an impact of their own. And before we get any further, I did want to clarify, keep in mind this podcast for educational and entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed are those of the individual presenters and don't necessarily reflect UIF Corporation or its affiliates. But Dr. Siddiqi, welcome to the UIF Community Podcast. Pleasure to have you with us. Ajaz, I know you guys are family, cousins, right? So I wanted to shoot it over to you and kind of, let you take us into the conversation today.
Yes, thank you, Omar. I appreciate, you did a great intro, and all of that is great and awesome and everything. But I know Saamer as a family member, a cousin of mine, so I'm proud of every single thing you mentioned about him. I just love the fact that he works. He's been able to take his passion for medicine and then blend that with his love for technology and work at the intersection of technology and medical. And the very few people can do that and transition and turn your hobbies into a passion and then a passion into a money-making venture and add value to the community. We always say, these community podcasts, it's for not so much for UI, but as much as for the community, because we're going to give back. So when we learn from the experiences of others, hopefully we don't make mistakes that others have made and learn the positives that they have learned. And that's what people like Saamer and other speakers in the past have done. It's for them, it's just giving back. Just like for UI, we give back too. So they're going to work. It's more about giving back. What can we give back to the community? It's a small way of saying, it's fun to give back and benefit the community. Saamer, I've known you since you were a child, so it's just all these accolades Omar mentioned about you. Super happy and proud to see where you've been going with your journey, and I've been tracking you very closely on LinkedIn. Anytime you put up a post on LinkedIn, I'm always the first one to try to get there, read, and keep a track of your journey of success, if you will. But before we dive into some questions that we normally ask of guest Saamer, I wanted you to do like a brief introduction about yourself from your own mouth, whatever you want to share about your journey, and also maybe what made you realize that you wanted to start this company. Why did you believe there was a need for this type of company that you started, and a little bit of a background on that too, and a little bit about maybe what LiveMed does currently. So I'll hand you over the floor and again welcome you again on behalf of the UIF audience and UIF community.
Hello, everyone. As-Salaam. Thank you, Ijaz Bhai and Omar, for having me here. It's definitely a pleasure. Extremely excited to talk to you a little bit about my journey. I'm been board certified internal medicine physician. I've been practicing for about 12 years now. Always a techie at heart. I actually studied computer science in undergrad, but then my parents and my uncles kind of pushed me towards trying to become a physician.
Like everybody else, your family is no different.
So I pursued that as well, but I really had a passion for health tech, and I kind of transitioned into the space about 5-6 years ago. And I used to work, earlier part of my career, I used to work in a rural hospital, a couple of rural hospitals about 100 miles west of Chicago. I really understood their pain points, and I understood tech as well. And then the pandemic happened and the whole system just broke down. We saw so many cracks. Unfortunately, at the same time, my brother was diagnosed with leukemia. And so it was a difficult battle at that time. I was on the front lines seeing patients at the hospital, and then I'd go spend time with my brother because he was admitted to the hospital for months at a time. And as physicians, we don't really have enough time to spend with patients. And so me sitting next to my brother for like days, I've noticed so many gaps in communication, specialty access. And then I actually was a part of the COVID task force at the hospital that I worked at, and I implemented an patient in hospital telemedicine solution. I call it the MacGyver way of doing things. We just took some iPads and we put it at nurses' stations, and then when we found that there were so many positives that were coming out of it, the resource utilization, the infection isolation, and so at that time the hospital was like, why don't you go find some companies that are doing it outside? Now, at the outside, the telemedicine, outpatient telemedicine, has skyrocketed, and I'm sure you guys can see several different online platforms where you can see a doc. But inside the hospital, telemedicine is just it's a brand new field. There are some companies that are there that are doing it out there, but there wasn't a company that was all integrated, all under one umbrella. You either have to contract your physicians with different groups, you have a separate vendor for your technology, software, hardware, and so hospitals who, first of all, a lot of hospitals don't even have telemedicine implemented, but then the ones that do have like 7 to 8 contracts with different providers, and it's really hard to scale that. So, alhamdulillah, the pandemic subsided with the vaccines coming out, and then I was 100% match with my brother as a bone marrow donor, so I was able to donate my bone marrow. Alhamdulillah, he's doing fine now, and that's when I was like, okay, this is I got to take a shot, and here we are.
They say, I think something along the lines of necessity is the mother of invention. But, in a way, I think, Samer, for you, it was not just more of necessity, but also your personal experience and motivation that triggered that, hey, this is something that a unique need we can meet in the community. And I wish you all the best. So, Omar, go ahead with your next question. We'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, so what were some of the biggest challenges that you had getting the company off the ground?
Definitely. So, just to kind of give you guys a little bit background, if you have a physician group and let's say a cardiologist group, and you want to go provide uh, cardiology services to a hospital as a group, just getting in that way is difficult. And so now we're giving them specialty lines, and we're selling them technology and AI technology. So the word the pandemic, I mean the pandemic in the pandemic, the word telemedicine, everyone was hesitant about. No, everyone wanted to just stay away from it. So trying to get over that hurdle, and then establishing credibility. The first year, end of 2022, is when the idea kind of formulated, and then we started going at it end of 2022, early 2023, and until we got our first contract at a hospital, it was all up in the air, and the hardest things were credibility. A lot of answers I heard from fellow physicians and administrators. Oh, there's some big companies out there; they're going to be doing it, and it's just the issue of being able to provide what you say you're going to provide. That's number one. One thing I thought that helped me was because I'm a physician, that could open doors for me. But unfortunately, that's not the case. They don't want like physicians to start creating technology products and start deploying them. But we were able to establish some clinical champions inside these hospitals that were vouching for us. So that's how we got our first contract, and then we started going on, and then establishing it. We couldn't just pick up the phone and call these hospitals. We had to have someone that was vouching for us from inside the hospital, and then we'd go present to them. And alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
every time we present, everything went well.
Could you kind of talk a little bit though, Summer, about I'm trying to understand like from the hospital side, right? Like what can you maybe dig into that a little bit deeper so we can try to understand like what's their hesitancy? Because I mean 2020 and 2021, it seems like technology in the healthcare field is kind of going in a positive direction. So can you talk a little bit about that? What was their hesitancy, and what were the because you're kind of selling them on it, right? So how did you kind of get around that? What was the conversation like on that?
So the plan was, so healthcare as an industry has been the slowest to adopt new innovations, new technology. The financial sectors, transportation sectors, those have taken off exponentially. My idea was we used the lowest hanging fruit. lowest hanging fruit is, hey, they need specialists. They don't have specialty services at a cost effective rate. So we were able to say, hey, we'll give you the cardiologist, we'll give you the pulmonologist, but you do have to use our tech. And so we use the specialty services as our Trojan horse to get inside these hospitals. And then we make it mandatory for them to use our platform because we wanted to make sure everything is consolidated under one umbrella, basically.
So, Saamer, you have a very impressive website as preparation for this podcast. I actually went on the website and I saw the people involved with you, a very credible team that you've put together over there, and seems like things are moving along wonderfully. But let's go back to the early days of when you started this company. You're the founder, from my understanding, and you're the person with the idea. Uh, how did you do that? What was from a money standpoint? Like, did you just decide like I'm gonna put up some of my own initial capital to get the ball rolling, and along the way bring on investors? So if you can just for the young budding entrepreneurs who are listening to this podcast right now, like what was your journey from inception to now, raising money, etc.?
Great. So to be honest with you, you kind of have a general idea. You don't really know exactly what the product market fit is going to be. So you just kind of have to dive in and jump in. So the biggest thing for me was, hey, how do I get this telemedicine technology device at a cost effective rate? So I actually built several carts myself in my parents' garage, and at a time there were all these carts laying around the living room, and so I ordered these parts from China, et cetera, and then finally found a manufacturer that was able to provide it at the cost that we needed to, and to my specifications. The initial part was I bootstrapped everything. Because I didn't want to take on any investment or any loans because that's high risk. If I didn't know if I was going to go anywhere. Once for the first 2 years, a year and a half, we bootstrapped it. Once we got our larger contracts with several hospitals and got our technology in place and solidified, that's when we did our pre-seed round last year. And alhamdulillah, that was a journey. I did have to put some money to bootstrap it initially.
So currently, from what I understand, at least, or maybe you can correct my assumptions here, you are still a practicing physician. You do what you do, and then at the same time, you work the extra hours to sort of manage and run the company. Or do you have other people now more on a day to day running, and you're kind of looking at it? But what's the structure right now?
So initially, I was working full time, and then every other minute I got, I spent on the company. About a year ago, I became officially part time at my medical practice, basically, and that's because I wasn't able to, give them the commitment, the hospital, the commitment that they required. As the company grew, we do have a lot of team members that are handling the day to days. But my schedule was impossible to do full time physician as well as full time founding and running the company. So now I do about 6 to 8 days a month, and then the rest of the time it's just all life.
So is your goal? I mean, I know I've started a few companies and ended up selling them early in my career. Every entrepreneur has a goal, right? Is it to keep building this the foreseeable future, or is there an exit plan you have that okay, let me take it to a certain level, scale it up to this level. After that, I'm going to be out of resources and the capital required to take it to the next level. Maybe at that time, maybe bring in private equity or bring in sell to a larger tech company or another healthcare company, whatever the case might be. So, what are your thoughts on that? Like, where is this heading towards, or what's your game plan 5, 10 years out?
I think as so I don't come from a business background, and I don't come from a finance background. My whole philosophy was, hey, let's build the product first. We'll figure out the money later. If you had told me that a couple of years ago, so let me start off a little bit. 2023 was our first hospital that we signed. 2024 we had 5, and then this year to date we have 35, and it's exponentially grown. So whatever our margins that we wanted to hit, whatever I thought a year ago, we've kind of blown past that. I haven't really thought about exits yet. I'm just still trying to build this to whatever I feel the potential is. I think it's much higher than that possibly because we're hitting so many different verticals. But that's a great question, Jazbai. But to be honest with you, I've not really thought about an exit plan yet.
Okay, so with that said, before I have Umar ask the next very important question, that Umar and I usually talk about some of the questions that I think would our guests, our attendees would benefit from. I'm just following up on some as questions come into my mind. The type of people you're looking for right now as you scale up, and because there are a lot of younger audience members who may be a good fit to be a part of your team. We're actually going past close to 200,000 listeners now on our last 17, 18 podcasts we've done. So there might be people who might be interested in joining your team and helping you get bigger. And on the website, we'll share your website information on our emails and so forth as well in the show notes. But the type of people you're looking to hire right now, what is like your urgent need, and could they then go and apply for a position in your company to be part of this exciting opportunity? Because I just look at this like a really, really exciting step. If I'm a medical field professional, I would love to join a startup like yours to really become part of it on the ground floor. So talk about that a little bit if you can, Saamer. What are you looking for?
Sure, be happy to. Physicians, we're always looking for physicians. We're always hiring physicians from a practice standpoint. We have created a marketplace for physicians, so it's kind of like their own virtual private practice. From a core team perspective,
Will they be? I'm sorry, one question. When you say physician, are these going to be like part time where they're doing what they're doing and then also consulting for you, kind of moonlighting for you on the side, or are you looking for them to like give up that practice and come join you guys full time kind of thing?
Yeah, so let me just explain it a little bit better, our model. So when we're trying to provide these specialists to these community hospitals and underserved communities, they can't afford these specialists. So they can't afford one specialist at a time. So we had to purposely create a private practice model where the physician can, he's on call for the day for us, but it's not like he's stuck to the computer every hour of the day. He can do his daily activities, etc. A lot of the management is done by our proprietary communication tool. And then once the physician is ready to round, he'll go call the nurse and then activate the device, and he'll spend a couple hours rounding. So the idea was just if anyone owns their clinic, if they have a cardiology practice, they're never at the hospital 24/7. They'll go to each hospital when they have the time, but they're managing patients from outside. And so that's the model we set up. Luckily, we've had some that have almost come full time now because they just like the flexibility. But a lot of them just do their normal job, and while they're doing their normal job, they have the capability of signing on for shifts with us as well.
Thanks, Summer.
Okay, one of the things, Summer, that's been all the rage lately, I'm sure you know, artificial intelligence, AI. So can you kind of talk about how it's impacting the healthcare industry and where do you see it headed, in the next 5 to 10 years?
That's a great question, and that's what everyone is talking about.
I only ask the best questions, Summer.
Yeah,
I think the rest for you stands.
He has the best ones. He leaves the intelligent one for me, Summer. So.
Sure. No problem. So we've one of our marketing initiatives is to go to the biggest health conferences that are available to us. So we go to like conferences like Health or HIMSS, and what we noticed over there that every company has AI attached to on top of it. Like in front of their name is AI powered this, AI powered that. And then when you start digging into exactly what they're doing, it's not like they have their own LLM. They've taken one model and they've kind of just fine-tuned it, and they're using ChatGPT and et cetera. So that's the one thing that we noticed, is that we had to get someone who actually can look under the hood of these companies and say, hey, this is real and this is not real. That's why we a year ago we had a chief of AI officer that joined our team a year ago, and he actually built our models as well. But my idea is that number one, regulation is going to be the biggest problem with AI. AI is moving way faster than anybody can even imagine. So if anyone was going to give you a prediction about where AI was going to be or what the capabilities are, I would not believe it at all. Number two, there's always the dilution effect, where every company just joins on and adds AI to their market. You have to really find out exactly how they're using the AI. Are they using a third-party company? And so it's very difficult to kind of differentiate between the real in-house AI companies that offer AI solutions. In my mind, I do think that we are looking, movies like Mission Impossible and all these like movies we see about AI. I think that's closer in our future than everybody imagines, because the rate, the exponential rate at the power of AI right now is just unimaginable, to be honest.
Okay, so you're firmly in the camp that doomsday is around the corner, and so we should be concerned. All kidding aside, but yeah, no, it's definitely a scary thing. Seeing how quickly these things are going, and hope we're wrong on that, and maybe it's maybe more positive effect than negative. But I
But,
guess
but
yeah.
wouldn't you agree, Samer, that the healthcare industry, at least from an employee perspective, is much more insulated compared to like other industries, like for us in our banking finance industry, right? A lot of tasks are very manual for us still, right? We're ordering appraisals and condo questionnaires and this and that, and but I'm very concerned for industries like us, where a lot of the people who do some of these manual tasks, they can be much easily replaced by an AI engine that can do all of that. But something like yours in medical, where you still need high touch points, where your doctors or your nurses, that those things can be replaced. Maybe a radiologist in India sitting in Kerala can look at, which is already happening right now. So I'm not surprised to you, but some of that can be replaced. So cost may come under pressure, that type of thing. But where do you think the biggest concern uh, the medical industry, the healthcare industry has with AI? How do you think that's going to change or revolutionize the whole industry?
Uh, Personally, I don't think we're anywhere near AI replacing physicians or healthcare practitioners. I do feel like they are there to superpower the docs, superpower the healthcare providers, increasing their efficiency, making sure that things aren't missed the day to days. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have a physician or healthcare provider sign off on things. Yes, they can do node generation. Some of the stuff that we're putting out this year, that's also pretty innovative, and I'm pretty excited about that. But at the end of the day, we've also kept it as, hey, someone has to sign off on this. Someone has to review this and sign off on the orders, and but I don't think it can be replaced by
Yeah,
that stuff.
what do you think about, I was reading an article the other day about biotech industry, and they are just like over the top in terms of how this AI technology can help them discover new drugs, and really like just all that years of learning on some of this can really to catapult the industry like years ahead. What are your thoughts on that? On specifically, I'm talking about the biotech industry and the drugs coming out and drug discovery, stuff like that. Do you have any thoughts on that? Or
That, yes, for sure. That industry is going to have exponential benefits with that. They're also doing genomic mapping as well, where each individual gets their genomic maps done, so that whatever treatment that you need, it can be tailored specific to your genome. And then usually pharma trials would take forever, like at least 7 to 8 years for any drugs to come out. And now having AI to run the models, predictions, etc., you've shortened that time span to initially phase 1 trials, phase 2 trials, by at least, I would say, 70%, if not more than that. So biotech industry is probably going to have. I'm hoping that it has the best impact with AI.
I already have a space on my iPhone next to my Google Maps. I'm going to have my genome maps over there basically. So anywhere people can just quickly tap on it and they could know which way I need to go. So I'm excited about that already. So that's awesome. Go ahead, Omar.
Yeah, so just kind of going off of the AI thing, but what are the other kind of other exciting innovations that you see in the healthcare space right now that you'd want to share with everyone that you're seeing on the ground?
I'm really, really excited about. Well, I'm really excited about what we're coming out with, because it is truly innovative and it's not outside the market.
Can you share what
But
that is, or is that
yeah, no
confidential right
worry.
now?
The
I can share.
proprietary,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
I,
no,
I'd love
absolutely.
to learn more about that. What are you coming out with? So that'd be great.
So basically, we're a lot of one of the biggest pain points in scaling virtual care, or scaling any telehealth, or scaling access to specialists, is interoperability. A lot of these hospitals, these that we go into, they're low volume, they're dispersed, they're not connected. So consolidative technologies that are out there that can consolidate different EMRs, different platforms, so that our physicians have access to the patient information when they need it. Plus, also the biggest pain points. I do believe that having a physician or multiple physicians in a health tech company is very advantageous, because you can come up with several AI use cases, but it's really the clinicians that can say, hey, where can we plug this AI innovation into which solution? And so what we're also coming out with, clinical communication paging system, is hasn't changed in over 50 years. The hospitals still use like pagers, and every doc that you talk to what says they hate paging systems. So we're completely reimagining what it means to be paged. We have a proprietary model that can escalate, can route, and can prioritize by medical acuity without the nurses having to do that. And then on top of that, we've also embedded our Alice AI, which is our AI healthcare assistant inside these applications. That all you have to do is just talk about the patient, and it'll create consults, it'll send messages, etc. So really excited about that. But apart from that, what I'm really excited about is remote robotic surgery. China has been successful doing that. Korea has been successful in doing that. They're doing surgeries operating 100, 150 miles away. As technology improves and the lag of 5G wireless services gets better and better, I do feel like that will be one of the biggest changes in healthcare, because what we're trying to offer is virtual specialty care, and we can cover about 50%. But a lot of times, these patients that we can't cover are patients that need surgical procedures. And if we can start doing robotic remote surgeries, that'll be the biggest game changer.
Yes, yeah, Jazz. That's what I was waiting for. Is the Turkish physicians? They can do the hair transplant for me. I won't have to fly to
Yeah,
Turkey.
we
That would
got
be a big
we
win
got a
all around for
I got a
me.
few recommendations for you, Saamer, as soon as you launch that the hair transplant business, because
I'm
we have
ready to sign up, Summer.
we have
Let me
quite a
know.
few employees too. But Saamer, you talked about the surgery part, but I don't remember. It's been quite a bit many years ago. Intuitive Surgical, they have that Da Vinci that doctors can sit behind and do that. How is this going to be different? I guess from
So it's exactly. So it's like the Da Vinci, basically, that they're
okay.
using with the high-powered internet, 5G, basically trying to. The one problems they've had is the lag. So when on the physician side, on the surgeon side, they also need a little bit of haptic control, so that when they're actually doing that, they can actually feel it. There's about I think a millisecond or a second like lag. So that's one thing. So they're using the same robots, basically similar robots, but it's connecting with 5G. One of my brother-in-laws is actually he's a surgeon, and he's one of one of the leading robotic surgeons in the nation, and he goes and gives teaches at different hospitals on how to do the robotic surgery. And he was showing me a video. It's like he's like still pretty far away from the patient, and there's nurses at the bedside, but he's doing the surgery from, like, I would say, like 10, 20 feet away. And I thought that was so incredible.
Yeah.
And so they're using the same product and kind of adding on to that and superpowering them with Wi-Fi and internet.
So
That's
I'm going to turn to some questions that are less medical and more about helping just the general community at large. So Samer, I kind of look at you now and tracking your career. I look at you as Samer 2.0, and there was a Samer 1.0 when you were first starting the business. So Samer 2.0 were to go back in time and talk to Samer 1.0, what would Samer 2.0 tell Summer 1.0 in terms of these are the mistakes you should be avoiding, these are some of the things that you shouldn't be doing or you should be doing, etc. So more of an advice for the old Summer. So what would you say to yourself 10 years ago when we started the business?
If I go back to my 2-year-old self, I'll give him a high five, and I'll be like, "Hey man, just keep doing what you're doing." And I do feel like there's no regrets, right? Every success, every failure is a learning aspect, and it's a stepping foot for the next. If I didn't fail in some of my other products or etc., I wouldn't be able to innovate and respond to that. So I wouldn't say that I would change anything. I would just be like, just keep going, just don't stop.
So good. So that's a great thing because that means there weren't any big, bumps
There
or
were,
big
there
lessons.
were, no, there were a lot of bumps. I mean,
Oh,
100%, it's really hard,
okay.
but that's how we came to have this like to have a product like this. We had to go through that
So,
struggle.
so I guess, I mean, like any mistakes you made that you could have avoided had you had the hindsight is what I was saying. So was there anything like that comes to mind, like anything you would have avoided going back, or?
Yeah, so definitely, what I would have done is earlier part of the company, I would have gotten somebody in house that's more deep tech or
Mhm.
deep AI. Initially, what we had done was we had contracted out for our AI production, our technology software production, and that's where we realized that no one was really doing what we are doing, and it was really hard for us to even get products out that we needed. And I think if I had to tell myself, I'd probably get someone a deep tech. If you're doing a technology company, you're trying to create products, you want to have someone who's deep tech that can actually look under the hood to see, hey, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? I think that was probably the biggest impact that we had to shift over, getting everybody in house, basically.
And just to follow up on that question, new entrepreneurs, well, no matter what their line of work or industry or whatever they want to get into, what are some things, if you're talking to younger entrepreneurs who want to start their business, they're in their young 20s, early 20s, whatever, what would you tell them? What are some things that you tell them, okay, guys, if you're going to do this, then be prepared for this? What is that this I'm talking about now?
First, I want to tell them that this is probably the best time for entrepreneurship. Uh, the advent of ChatGPT and AI has skyrocketed, any sort of business or founder to create products, to create websites, to create, a plan and strategy. So you have already like 10 people working underneath you if you're utilizing the AI that you have available to you. But I would say number one, it would be persistence, and actually doing, something. Let's say you have a general idea of, hey, this is something you want to solve. You may not have the right solution yet, but you have to dive in to learn how to swim. You're not going to be able to have a theory and read books and say, this is how I'm going to do it. Just to give you an example, what I started off with initially was a completely well, it was still in the same arena of health and telehealth, but it was completely different. Once I started getting into the nooks and crannies and started doing it, that's when I realized, okay, you got to refine what the product pitch is, you got to refine what the product market fit is, and that's when you'll come to uh, a product that people actually use.
Thank you.
Okay, Summer. Any mentors that any individuals that you can speak about who helped you guide you along this path that you've been on?
Yeah, no. So I've been very blessed. My own co-founders, Mirza Beg and Jonathan Goldberg, they're a little bit older than me, but definitely a lot more experienced in the health tech world, and as well as Jonathan Goldberg is a CIO and our CIO, and Mirza Beg is our CTO, and so they've actually been very, very detrimental to where the company went, and basically guiding me as well. Apart from outside of that company, Farhan from Inference Analytics, I actually knew him way back. We played cricket together, so he has his own company right now, and he helped me with the whole startup phase. And then there's another physician, radiologist by the name of Dr. Khan, and he works at he's produced Hopper. That's what his company is. And I initially got a first meeting with him, and I kind of pitched him our deck and everything, and he just looked at me. He's just like, "It's not gonna work. This is
Mhm.
not going to work." He's like, "You don't have anybody in this company that can do what you're gonna do." And he's like, "Do you know what you're trying to do?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to give specialty access to other people." He's like, "No." He's like, "You're trying to sell cars when people are riding horses." And that was really, he really butchered our first implementation and deck, and that kind of gave me a different perspective on how to approach these hospitals, how to approach it differently, and actually refining my pitch to these hospitals. And so, yeah, those two people really did help me. Now I do see him at these conferences, and he's always very proud, and it's
So,
nice.
I mean, by now our audience is convinced where this guy is a pure nerd. He's a doctor. He's a successful technologist. But does he have any fun things he does? Does he have any passion, any hobbies, any things he does outside of work? So, can you enlighten us, Samer, on what are some of the fun things you get to do in your daily life, if you have
Sure.
some?
I'm going to clarify. I'm not a nerd. I wish I was. I wish I was. But I'm not.
I can call you a nerd because I'm your older cousin, so anybody else can do that. But I'm just joking myself.
He gets that. He gets that pass, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean hobbies. Obviously, sports. I play soccer. I played soccer in high school. I play cricket. I tried to play cricket. Tennis. Sports are my hobbies. Basically, travel. Travel is something. I have the travel bug, and I love traveling. And it's been a little bit harder to travel now, but with everything that's going on. But I still try to do that. But overall, family time, spending a lot of time with family. Whatever time I get, I try to spend with my son and my family. Try to take trips with them. And anytime I get, I try to get some sports in as well.
I think it's in our Hussein family DNA traveling because I travel a lot as well. So, is there any particular destination for the audience benefit, my benefit, Summer, that you would say recently you've been that you would highly recommend, like a country or something that you say it's really a fun visit, if you will?
So we actually just got back from our. We did a European family trip, and we went to this island of Rhodes. It's in Greece, and the reason why we picked that Rhodes Island is because of the proximity to Turkey. So the idea was we were going to take little ferries to different little islands, and one of the islands we went, it was called Simi or Symi or Symi, and just by alhamdulillah, I've been traveling for a while, and I was blown away by this island. It was
Really?
probably a very small island. It's off. It's probably about an hour and a half away from Bodrum, Turkey,
Yeah.
and about an
Mm.
hour and a half away from Rhodes. And
How do you
it
spell
was
Rhodes? I'm sorry.
Rhodes.
Rhodes. Okay, so this is in part of Greece, basically. You're saying.
Part of Greece, yeah, part of
Okay,
Greece.
but close to that whole Mediterranean area where you have Turkey, Greece, all of that. No, that's awesome. So you recommend that? That's great. I didn't even know. I didn't. It's a great recommendation. I didn't even hear about this. So
Me neither. We just kept looking, and we ended up there, and it was absolutely beautiful.
that is awesome. Omar, do you have any questions? If not, I was going to ask him about the book podcast and kind of
No, I'm good on my end.
all right.
I just
So
want to point out though he did when I asked him for mentors, he didn't mention you, Ijaz. So I just wanted to point that
I'm very
out.
disappointed. I'm very disappointed that I was very almost like he's going
Oh
to say,
yeah,
just by.
Sorry, Ejaz Bhai was very, very. No, every time he meets me, every time he saw me on LinkedIn, he's always been very, very supportive, and that's out of all the family, I think my uncles are probably the most excited, and they're pushing me the most as well.
I'm a very
It's gonna
shallow
be your
person.
last time on the show though, Summer. I
I'm,
just
uh,
want to tell you this
I'm a very
before you
shallow person, so I'll accept any compliment I can get, guys. So thank you, Samer. I appreciate that. Samer, just a quick thing about any book you read that was had a profound influence in you, or any podcast you listen to these days that maybe your audience members can listen and benefit. Just in general, maybe one or two you can mention.
So I don't really listen to podcasts, but two books that I read that were really a little bit changing was Crossing the Chasm and Elon Musk, his biography and how he came to be. But I do watch a lot of these startup shows the one recently I watched was Super Pumped. That's the Uber story,
Mm.
and it just kind of gives you that idea of, hey, what kind of work needs to be done, how much of work. I mean, you got to take the 9 to 5 mentality out of your mind if you're trying to do
Yeah.
business. There's no such thing as you're off call or you're on call. You're just always on. There's
Yeah.
nothing. And so these the book and just kind of studying how Elon did what he did, it was just amazing.
Yeah, I read his biography as well. Are you talking about the one with the Walter Isaacson or the one I've read both of
Yeah,
them?
Walter Isaacson.
The
Walter
Walter, yeah,
Isaacson. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's yeah. So he had there was another one before that I had read, and that was actually very good. About how he first got the idea to build Tesla and this and that and the other. So it's very interesting, and then the rocket ships and all that stuff. So no, his books are pretty good. I've my favorite autobiography all time has to be Steve Jobs. So if you have not read that one, I would highly recommend the audience. Maybe one of the best autobiography. Walter Isaacson as well. It was an 800-page book. I read it in like 3 days basically. So it was just like I really couldn't put it down. So um, last thing, Samer, you're in the midst of growing this company. And we do not endorse any company. We don't ask our people to invest in any company. We don't ask any our audience members to go work for any company because, as Umar disclosed, this is just an educational forum here. But if our listeners wanted to get a hold of you, whether they want to consider maybe getting on a company that is on sort of the ground floor still, or they want to work for you, what's the best place for them to reach you and maybe connect with you and so forth?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn connection or LinkedIn message. I think that's something that I do check pretty frequently, and that would probably be the best way to connect with me if they want any help or anything like that.
And just type in your Dr. Saamer Siddiqui, and that should come
Yeah,
up, correct? Right? Yes. Omar, can we put in the show notes also his
Definitely.
obviously
Will do.
I mean, his name's going to be all over the podcast and emails and stuff. So if you can punch in your Saamer's
Definitely
name
will.
in the LinkedIn box, search box, I'm sure he's the first one that popped up when I put down Saamer. So that's great. So Omar, I think that's great. We covered a lot of information today. I think it was a great interview. Saamer, thank you for, I know you're so busy, but you took the time out. And my first call to Saamer, inviting him, he's like, I'm there. If you want me, I'll be happy to share my thoughts. So it was a great interview. Saamer, I wish you all the best on behalf of not only Umar and I, but the entire UIF family. We want to see more successful entrepreneurs from our community, because that's what makes our community greater and better, if you will. So that is it, Umar, from my side with Saamer. Anything you want to wrap up with, or?
No, I'm good. Saamer, thanks so much for coming on again, and we'll wrap up, and we'll have it in the show notes where people can reach you. And thanks again for coming on, and I think it's going to be a lot of benefit to, especially a lot of younger community members who are can be inspired by your story. So
Omar, before you talk about the little bit about UIF to end, Omar, I just wanted to tell the audience members that listen. This is all about giving back to the community. We are always looking for guests who, like Saamer, who can add value to your lives. Let us know. Omar will mention our email address where you can send your email feedback to. Also, UIF, at the end of the day, we can do these things and bring out new products and programs and services as long as the community supports us. So please, if you have a need for home financing or masjid financing, commercial real estate, auto financing in certain states, please consider UIF. Also, lastly, we offer deposit accounts, both halal savings accounts, FDIC insured accounts, halal savings accounts, as well as deposit accounts similar to time CDs. Consider at least opening a small account, $100 account, a savings account with us. Become a member of our family, because that way we can get to support our community, because it's a huge need, a huge demand. We can't fulfill this demand unless the community steps up and becomes part of our family and opens an account. And like I said, it's $100 to open a savings account. The more you put in, the more returns you get out of the, and we share the profits from our halal investments. We share that with our customers. We've raised over 140 million last 2 years. We're the number one provider in the country when it comes to Islamic financing products and services. And it's all about do good, be good. We try to give back to the community, because that's where we feel we add the most value. So with that said, Omar, I'll let you conclude, and thank you again, Saamer.
yeah, and thank you, Ajaz, for that. Saamer, thanks again for coming on. Like Ajaz said, look, at UIF, we're proud to highlight individuals like Saamer who embody excellence, purpose, and a commitment to bettering the community. So for our listeners, if you enjoyed the conversation today, be sure to follow the UIF Community Podcast on your favorite podcast platform for more stories like this, featuring leaders, change makers, and entrepreneurs from across the country. So thank you again, everybody, for listening in. Hope it was beneficial. And look forward to the next episode. Until next time, this is Omar Sabani signing off for the UIF Community Podcast. Alaikum. Take care, everyone.